Hi guys. Today's video is going to be the last day of notes for the 1920s unit. In this Google Classroom post, I've attached the study guide, a Bookit link, anything, the slides. I think that's it, but you should be studying for your test, which is coming up here, and make sure you're filling out your study guide. You should have everything pretty much filled out except for a couple. And I would recommend that as you go through this video, you kind of make sure you have all of the answers that you may have not filled out yet. So we're going to start off. Flapper girls, you've probably seen them whenever you look up 1920s. They are kind of like the fashion icons of the age. So they're usually recognized by their short hair, their quote short skirts. Short would be to the knee at this point. That was like very scandalous. And makeup, lots like rouge and we'll look at that in a minute, but and smoking cigarettes, very scandalous. So there I have a picture. You can see their dresses aren't that short as we would say, like super short, but it was super short for the time. So I see a lot of the time I see in different costumes from Party City and other places that they have this image of a flapper girl. That's not really accurate. So here we have on the one side a picture of a costume that would be a flapper girl. You see it's really, really short. But then on the other side, you see like the real flapper girls who were short. It was about a little below the knee, but still not as short as the Party City one. So just so you know, they weren't that short, the skirts. Here's some more women's fashion. Like I've said before, we see a drop in the waist of women's dresses, and we see a lot of looser fitting clothing. They're not wearing girdles or corsets or anything to kind of have this like waist. They are very streamlined and loose and probably a little bit more comfortable, to be honest. But actually one more thing that I noticed is like short hair, right? But they also have like hats that kind of conform to their heads. So everything's like very like, I don't know, it reminds me of a helmet, but like a fashionable helmet. I don't know. But here I was talking about makeup earlier. You see a lot of rouge, which is like blush, but like you put it on your eyes too. They're putting it like a lighter eyeshadow on their eyes and around their eyes, kind of near their cheeks and stuff, putting rouge. Rosy cheeks is pretty common during this era. We see black eyeliner and mascara, kind of standard stuff. But one thing I did notice is that they exaggerate the natural curvature of your upper lip. So instead of like some women go over and try and make their lips look a little bit fuller, they're lining the exact natural curve of their lips, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty natural. Here we see some men's fashion. We see the double-breasted suit, which is pretty common. You'll notice they're dressing sort of like Al Capone, and he was a huge fashion icon for the time. And then I like this other ad because it shows like from evening to day. So you have your tuxedo with your coattails, and then you have the next day your suit, your fedora, your shoes. Pretty snappy dressers. All right, so the Charleston is a huge popular dance during this time. We will learn the Charleston later, probably next week with our dancing competition. It's not really a competition, it's more of, a party, but here is just like a quick video.
In Charleston, South Carolina, by a gentleman named James P. Johnson. The first time he did it, it was on Broadway. The fun thing I like about the Charleston is that it actually feels like you're squishing a bug. And you have to make sure that when you're leading into the dance, you want to think about the 5, 6, 7, 8 right before the dance starts, so that way you're right in time with the music and your movement. So we're gonna be moving forward with your right foot, and then you're gonna be stepping back with your left. As you get this rhythm going back and forth with your feet, what you want to feel is that you want to start twisting your feet. That's the part where it's going to feel like you're squishing some butts, okay? From here, you're going to add some arms with you, giving a little bit of structure. And then when you have a little bit more freedom, you want to bring it up nice. Have a little bit of freedom when you're doing the step. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the Charleston.
All right. We'll talk more about that next week. So we have different things in the media coming out, especially movies. The first movie with sound is called The Jazz Singer, and it's known for syncing up its sound with the actors. So before this, it was silent films only, but now they're able to take those silent films and like record the dialogue and kind of sync those together, edit those together. Unfortunately, it's also known for its use of blackface. A lot of controversy surrounding this movie, very valid controversy. Blackface is absolutely despicable and should never be used in any context. But it is the first movie with sound. That's what it's, that's why I have it on the slide. But the first animated movie with sound is called Steamboat Willie. And with these two movies coming out, it's become really popular for Americans to go to the movies each week. And here is a little clip of Steamboat Willie. You've probably seen it at the beginning of Disney movies. Okay, so that's just a little clip, but you can go watch the rest. We also see radio being used a little bit more. Newspapers were being used to, not translate, but to relay the news, but people are getting it through radio a bit faster. They're able to actually hear the voice of the President of the United States. And during the Great Depression, we'll see the radio being used to kind of comfort Americans with the president's speeches, but they're also able to listen to other events like the World Series, announcing it live. It's not like you have to hear about it the next day or buy a ticket yourself. You can actually hear it happening live. So I think that's pretty cool. Whoopsies. All right. Culture wars. Here we start getting into the debate on religion, fundamentalism versus modernism. Fundamentalism, though, to start things off, is the literal view of the Bible, talking about creationism and taking the Bible stories on creationism very literally. And it attacked a lot of the urban lifestyle and culture that we had just seen in those earlier slides, the fashion, the movies, everything. And its main two leaders were Billy Sunday and Amy Semple McPherson. Start off with Billy Sunday. Billy Sunday actually left baseball for Christian ministry. So he was a professional baseball player, and he left to pursue a life of kind of converting people to fundamentalism or kind of spreading the word on that. So he was a baseball player, and he did play for, you ready? Go, Cubs, go. Go, Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. Go, Cubs, go. One more time. Go, Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. All right, he did play for the Cubs. I thought that was so funny. Anyway, we also have Amy Semple McPherson. She was a huge leader. She would make tours around the country, speaking to people, putting on these very theatrical, she was very theatrical, plays and dances and songs and everything. She ends up actually faking her own kidnapping. She disappears mysteriously, and it is thought to have that she ran away with her lover, and then she mysteriously appeared in this desert, and lied about, people kidnapping her and all that, and then it went to court and it was seen that she actually just left. So the pressure got to her. Here we have modernism. This is the opposite of fundamentalism because modernism is the liberal view of the Bible. So it's accepting the Bible maybe, but it's leaning towards coordination of science and context. So putting Bible stories in context with science, instead of just blindly following it. We have the battleground religion versus science continuing with the fundamentalism versus the secular or outside the church scientists. Fundamentalisms finds like all of their truth in the Bible, including science and evolution. I have this spectrum here of Bible translations, people falling on different ends of the spectrum, but the fundamentalists believe that it's word for word Bible translation. We need to believe every single word that it says, not putting it into the context that it was written or putting it in the context of science. And then it starts the Scopes trial. So the Scopes trial started in March of 1925 when Tennessee passed the nation's first law that made it a crime to teach evolution. And the ACLU promised to defend any teacher willing to challenge the law. And they actually asked John Scopes, who was a biology teacher at the time, to kind of be their guinea pig to see if they were going to be able to challenge this law. And there's a picture of John Scopes right there. So we have our defense lawyer, Clarence Darrow, who was very famous at the time. And then we have our prosecution, which is William Jennings Bryan. He's a 3-time Democratic presidential nominee, very experienced in law as well as politics. But ultimately, it ends in a guilty verdict for Scopes. He is fined $100, which is around $1,300 in today's dollars. But the Butler Act, which was this anti-evolution law in Tennessee, is later repealed in 1967. And then we see the Great Depression eve. We are slowly creeping into our Great Depression, and people are racking up debt. The first indicator, or the first people to kind of indicate this Great Depression, is our farmers. They lose a lot of money especially after the war, and they're eventually foreclosing, meaning like the mortgage company gains or ownership of their property. So we see us kind of creep into the Great Depression, and we'll talk about that in our next unit. Okay, so I made this the other night and I'm very proud of it. It's Encanto themed, and it says, I think it's time for an amendment roundup. Amendment roundup. All rights reserved to Lin-Manuel Miranda and Disney. Please do not sue Ms. Grady. Can't afford it. Okay, so I came up with ways to remember each amendment. I tweaked some of them. I kept some of them the same from last time, but here are your amendments that are going to be on the test. So the 13th Amendment, 13 is a bad number. Slavery is bad. I'm sorry, I didn't come up with a better one from that. If you have suggestions, let me know. So 13th Amendment, 13 is a bad number. Slavery is also bad. The 14th Amendment, all for one and one for all, okay? Because, all rights given to people if they're a citizen. The 15th Amendment, I just won the 5K race. If you'll remember, that one is the amendment that gave men, regardless of race, the right to vote. So I just won the 5K race. It's backwards, I guess, on there. There you go. Okay, this one I changed and I'm very proud of it. The 16th Amendment, sick teen. I am sick of paying taxes. Number 16, get it? 16, sick teen. 16th Amendment is the creation of the income tax. So I thought that was pretty good. 16, get it? Everyone's favorite, everyone, hands down, crowd favorite. Dancing Queen, feel that beat, only 17. It's very early for my voice, but I hope that was sufficient. Remember, 17th Amendment is the amendment that said you are voting for senators. So Senate, senator. I actually thought I made this up, and I did make up the singing part, but the Senatine was something that somebody else made up. So, but the ABBA part is mine, the Mamma Mia part. Okay, the 18th Amendment. You can't drink at 18, so no alcohol. That is the amendment that creates prohibition. 19th Amendment, 1920, women gain the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. I'm sorry, 1920. It's lame, I know. But you just remember the 19th Amendment. Go watch the Schoolhouse Rock song. It's really catchy. I think I played it for maybe one class, and they didn't really like it, but I think it's really catchy. So go watch the 19th Amendment song from Schoolhouse Rock. Okay. Can you tell that I'm alone in this room? Because I'm talking to no one, and that's an issue because I just start to ramble. The First Amendment. This amendment created freedom of speech. It is, I think that one's pretty easy to remember. I didn't come up with one. So if you have one, let me know. But I think the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom first. Is that something? I don't think so. This one's pretty good. You have two arms. Okay. You have the right to bear arms is the Second Amendment. Two arms, right to bear arms. All right, stay with me. Okay. The 11th Amendment. The ones are equal, so they can't sue each other. And the 11th Amendment is talking about how federal courts aren't allowed to hear certain lawsuits against states. So the ones are equal, so they can't sue each other, just like the states can't sue each other. I'm aware this one is weak. Okay, I even put that on the slide. I'm taking other suggestions for this one, but I thought it was pretty good. The 12th Amendment, vote for the number one man and the number two man, because this amendment has to do with voting for the president and vice president. I think that one is pretty solid. Okay, the number one man in the country, number two man in the country. There we go. Is the 12th Amendment. Okay, voting for the president and vice president. The 20th Amendment creates the inauguration day, and the inauguration day is always January 20th. So the 20th Amendment sets the inauguration date of January 20th. I hope that made sense. This one is probably the easiest one to remember, and I cannot take credit for this. The 21st Amendment, I'd first like to thank whoever passed this amendment for making it so easy for us to remember, because literally the 21st Amendment got rid of prohibition, and the age for the United States is you can drink on your 21st birthday. 21st Amendment got rid of prohibition. 21st Amendment, 21st birthday, you can drink on your 21st birthday. Oh my God. All right. I just need to end this. All right. That is it for today's video. I hope it wasn't too chaotic. Please let me know if you have any questions, work on your paper, study for your tests, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.